Hello everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another video here on the PokerStaples channel, the $10,000 Millions Online. You might be thinking, wait, didn't I already watch that? You did, but I managed to get another seat through a satellite. So there is a 10K run that you haven't seen. Spoiler alert, I don't win the tournament, but I still think it's interesting enough. It's a very high stakes buy-in, right? So to go through sort of the plays we make and the decisions we make in such a big equity spot, I think is a good idea. So without further ado, enjoy the $10,300 Millions Online on Party Poker. But this is it, man. It's game time coming up. 1 minute and 4 seconds from now, we will be playing the event. So let me get it set up here. We have our table. It's official. We have our table. Playing with player 5555, ZZZZ, WWW, ZZZ, Money Monk 2, Brayer 71 Roos, who we played with quite a bit, definitely senior, Jor Chino, Crash Override, and Gayogart 13. So there it is. That is our starting 8, and Brayer's thinking about it. He's going to raise it up to 15,600. Now the question is, do we re-raise it in position and try and get a heads up, or do we call and play in position, but also re-raise less into dominating hands? I think call is going to be better here. We do open ourselves up to getting squeezed, which makes our hand kind of difficult, but I don't think it's necessary to re-raise. Don't think we have to. So we'll just call, see what happens behind us. And now Crash Override in the big blind on 800,000. They have a pretty good price to call here, but they could also consider squeezing, of course. 9,600 for them to win 46K. But they just fold, and now we go to a flop of deuce 4-4, which is so dry. There's nothing going on here, right? It's very, very empty. Now we're in position, so it's kind of an interesting one because I don't think they should bet too often. But we also don't have that many hands that want to raise here. I think we should at least continue 100%. But by raising, we don't represent too much. We represent like, you know, like 7s, 8s, 9s going for thin raises, like 10s or jacks just flatting pre-flop, like those sort of things. It doesn't make that much sense. And on the turn, we see a 10 of hearts, which is good. And I think a spot where we want to get Brayer to consider folding ace highs by betting turn and river. So I'm going to bet 33,000 here. Because we want to tell the story that we can have 5s, 6s, 7s, 8s, 9s, right? I think this is a good bet with those hands. Real Sir Chancelot dropping the 30-month resub. Welcome back to the team. Get some hearts out in the chat for the man. Thank you, Real Sir Chancelot. All right, Queen of Hearts on the end. So we're going to value bet. We have a flush. Question is what sizing. I don't think huge here. One of the most conceivable draws is backdoor hearts. So I'm going to bet 87K. And it's really tough to find out what sort of hands we're getting called by. I think overpairs, obviously. I think the few times they have a 4, they're going to call at least. I think when they hit ace queen just now, they're going to call. I think they're still going to call with ace 10. And wow. We get check raise. I think we should call. We have a bluff catcher, right? We lose to queens full, we lose to 10s full, we lose to ace high flushes. But we have one of the best hands you could expect us to have here, other than like 10s full of force. So 235 to win 545, 2-1 odds with a flush, we call. 10s full. And unfortunately, we are half stacked now. We pick up ace king of clubs. Pretty sick turn river. Pretty sick turn, mainly. Oh man, this is the story of our tournaments. It's the same last week too. The turn, dude. The turn kills us, man. 10 of hearts. Small bet. They check call. And we make the flush on the end. Ah, dude. All right. We'll raise up ace king. It's okay, though. We still have the half stack, so plenty fine. Like, there's no reason to panic here. We're 80, 90 big blinds deep. You know, we could fold for an hour and still have a plenty good stack, so no problem. Pulls around to Giorgino. Who calls? We have a queen jack 3 with 2 clubs board. This is really good for us, too, because we have a nut advantage here. And what I mean by that is that Giorgino is not going to have aces, kings, queens, or jacks here. Whereas we can have all those hands. They're going to have a bunch of trashy hands. So I'd like to bet big and that we have such a great draw, right? We have a gut shot. We have the nut flush draw. We have 2 overcards. Like, we have a really good hand that we're willing to play for it all if they decide to on the flop. And we can put a lot of pressure when they have, like, Jack 10 or Jack 9 or Jack 8. Like, put them in a spot where they have to call off, you know, for, like, everything, right? Now, as played, we bet they call. King on the turn, and now I think we want to slow down a bit. We've improved. But let's think about what happens if we bet and they jam. We don't like that scenario. We're probably only going to get 2 bets with our hand. So I'm going to check here. We make a straight. It's a bad card because it's obvious that we have a straight. So we're not going to get any more value from worse hands. And if we do, it'll be a small amount. And now sometimes we chop. It checks to us. We're going to bet. I think about here is fine. Like, we're not going to bluff for like really, really tiny. So just right around half pot, I think allows us to have a good price when you have bluffs. And then maybe get value from like a queen jack that's slow played on the flop or something. But they just fold. 578. Okay. We raise the queens. We get a call for 27,600. Can we get a squeeze? Oh, it's such a good spot for a squeeze for them. Guess what's coming, Dottie? We got the queen and the queen in the biggest online tournament of my life. We raise, we get a call, and we get a squeeze in the dream squeeze spot. But little do they know, we've got it. We've got the goods. And we're all in. Cross your fingers, chat at home. Do it quick. Big moment. Hold. Let's go. Oh, I almost fell over backwards. Ah. Huge pot with the queens. We're up over 1 million, chat. Come on. Back over 1 million. Queens against the ace king. Let's go in this huge tournament. All right, jack 10 we're going to call here for 6,000 in the small blind. Sack the pan. We'd limp call here. You know, this is a good hand. 2 broadways. They check. Ace, queen, 10. Now we have a third pair. It's good. Third pair is good. We have a gut shot. We have a backdoor flush draw. But it's not like, let's say the turn and river comes 2-3. Well, how many bets are we going to get out of our 10? Like maybe 1. Maybe. So we definitely want to check here. You know, just check. Let them do their thing. 6 of clubs on the turn. Same thing. What are we protecting against? Like, what's a bad card for us? I don't know. Like a jack, I guess, is maybe bad. Like, there's nothing bad. Like, what's bad here? It's just a check. We don't want to play a big pot. We hope that they can bluff, or we just see what happens on the river, you know? We check call. River is an 8. Interesting. This is not a fun spot on the end. But we take it out. They check. It's beautiful. It's beautiful, man. All right, pocket jacks. This is good. Money Monk 2 puts in a raise to 30K here. So I'm going to re-raise. It's uncomfortable because one thing, let's say we had aces. It's a really good spot to flat aces. Squeeze stacks behind here. We can back raise. You know, it's a really good situation. But jacks are a lot more vulnerable post-flop. So I think we want to re-raise. We go to an 8-5 deuce flop. Money Monk calls. We're going to bet. I mean, it's really dry. Not a lot going on. So we're just going to bet our range advantage. And take it up. Okay. 270K pot coming our way. We're up to 1.1 million. We continue on. Queen 10 of diamonds. This is a good hand. A hand we definitely want to play if we get the opportunity. And it folds to us, which is great. So what sizing do we want to choose? I think 2.3 again. Not quite 2.5, but not quite 2.1. So we'll make it 2.3. We get a fold from Sack the Pan. Action on player 5. And action on Gaio Gart 13. Gaio Gart, things for a long time in 3 bets. I think a pretty easy call for us with Queen 10 suited here. I 2 suited broadways. In position, post flop, I think we're fine to call. So let's see a flop. Queen 8 deuce, all clubs. Pretty interesting here. I mean, the flop isn't too interesting, but it can get quite interesting on the turn, right? So let's see what Gaio decides to do. It's really tough if they like bet 100K here, we call, and they shove turn, right? Like that's really hard on a lot of turns, but they check. So if we bet, let's think about what can happen. They fold, that's great. That's a big win for us. We would love that. They call, it's, we're probably gonna have to check the turn as opposed to bet. And they raise, we hate it. If we bet and they jam, we hate it. And it's risking a lot. I think we should check back here. 3 on the turn. That's good. That's a good turn for us. And if they check the turn, now I think we get to bet. Because I think the chances we get check raised are a lot less. Because they would have to check twice. So going for the double check to then raise doesn't happen nearly as much. And with such a blank card, if they bet the turn, I think we have a call and then make a decision on the river. They bet 55K. Very, very small here. I think it should raise. I'll raise folds. I don't think they're going to go all in with like club draws or anything, but we can still have like nut flushes. We can still have quite strong hands. So when they bet such a small size, I think it's like it's a protection and or like buy a river bet. So I don't think we're going to get too many 3 bets that are bluffing. I think we're going to get some calls from hands that are drawing, getting a good price. We're going to get calls from a few hands that are better than us as well, but then we'll be able to check back the river and effectively cost ourselves less. You know what I mean? Limp from Gaio Gart 13 out of the gun. Well, we want to play here with King 10 suited, so let's stop the story about what we'll do with the money and let's get the money. I think I'm going to limp along here. I don't want to raise and face a jam. That sucks. We don't want to raise fold the 6s. You know what I mean? Our hand's very playable. We're in position here. Let's just check. Take it to the flop. Do we bluff? Yeah, I'm just going to throw out a little 30K here. Some good turns. Queen, king, 10 are reasonable. We don't have to invest very much against Guyogart. And this is a whatever hand. You know, they could have a jack 7 or deuce, which is fine. You know, we get to decide, do we continue bluffing on the turn or just take the free card? I think free card is fine. Check, check. Queen on the river. So what bluffs do we have here? Like 9, 10, 10, 8, and 9, 8. Random sort of suited Broadway stuff like this. But a lot of that hit with the queen. So yeah, I'm going to bluff. I'm going to make it 110. Assuming that we don't have enough combos of straight draws compared to like... We're not going to bluff ace high on the flop. That's obvious. King, queen got there. Queen 10 got there. So yeah, we're going to go for a bluff on the end. We'll get called by king jack. Fair enough. Don't expect king jack to fold. It's quite a good hand. One of the better hands they're going to have in that situation. So I think correct call, and we'll take our medicine. Crash override is thinking about it and 3 bets to 133,800. So pretty tough one here for us because calling, I think, is a mistake. Playing out of position with ace jack offsuit, a really bad idea. But crash override has been fairly active, and we just talked about their queen 8, right? So this is the type of opponent that is playing quite a lot of hands, which makes this ace jack off right on the edge for me for a 4-bet. You know, I think ace jack suited, I'm pretty sure I'm just in there. We're definitely in there with pocket 10s. We're in there with any ace queen or ace king. So we have a decision to make. Like, do we think they're messing around with us enough to 4-bet all in and you know, play for 560K? Or do we just fold and we lose our 2 big blinds, but we stay where we're at? I think it's really close. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and fold. But it's like right on the edge. You know, if I had any better hand, I would be all in. It was really like, player 5555 goes for the raise to 50,000, which is 2.5x. I would love to play the 10-9 suited unless we see a re-raise. But obviously a very pretty hand, can make a lot of nice things. So let's play. And Brower calls as well. I'm just going to call. I don't want to like squeeze and maybe have to fold here against like big pairs. Like this is such a nice playable hand post-flop. We call. So we call. Oh, that's boring, man. That's a boring flop for 10-9. Dude, come on, man. Checks around, deuce of diamonds on the turn. So I'm going to go for a little bet here because I think check calling is not going to be profitable with 10 high flush draw. So I like betting instead because we often just get a call from an ace. And then every once in a while, they both don't have an ace and they just fold. You know what I mean? So it's like we're kind of trying to set a price for the river here. And we don't hit our flush and they both call and we're done. But like, I think it makes it so that we can profitably play to the river as opposed to like checking, because we can't really check call out of position with 10 high, even with the flush draw, unless they bet really tiny, but we can't rely on that. So tiny bet, ace of the river, bet 118,000. We're going to fold no matter what happens. We pick up 9s. This is good, man. This is a nice hand. Do we 4-bet all in against Dimitri or call a 3-bet? Same here. We would get it in here and here. Money monk raises, we call. Pretty interesting now. Like if either of these two squeeze and they fold, we're all in. If Dimitri squeezes, depends on sizing, we probably call? I don't know, man. It's gross. If player squeezes, I don't know. It's tough. Everyone folds though, so we go heads up to the flop against a Money Monk 2, ace 6, 4, 3 hearts. We have the 9 of hearts in our hands. We have a flush draw. They check and we check. I'd like to play a small pot, you know? That is not a good card. We don't want to see a king, queen, jack 10 of non-hearts, right? So those are the bad cards. There's not that many of them. That's 12 outs, 24% per street. But other than that, we just want to play a small pot here. Check, check again. 4 to the river. And I feel like yeah, I'm going to fold. The hand that makes the most sense to me for them to have is king, queen with the king of hearts, or queens or jacks or 10s. We're not going to find out though, because they're going to fold. But those make the most sense. There's other hands that they can take this line with too. Those are the ones that come to mind first. Fold the jack 5 of clubs. Disappointing how that ran out. And we have a big hand here. Ace queen. This is one where against one opponent, if we get an aggressive action, I'm happy to go. Dimitri 3 bets. We're in. Guyogart shoves. We're in. Crash 3 bets. We 4 bets. Player 3 bets or jams we call. But more likely we're going to see a flop now that it folds to crash in the big blinds. Long thinking to call. Okay, we have a deuce 4 jack board. Pretty dry, not a lot going on. So the question is, do we bet and protect our equity, or do we check back? And I think check back is better. Just so dry. Yeah, like sometimes they're going to have a deuce or a 4 or a jack, but we're already losing against that. We're not going to c-bet and get it to fold, right? So we'll check. Turn is an ace. We will bet 87.5. Looks good to me. Take it out. Okay. Nice to win a pot, dude. Every pot is meaningful. I mean, it's not in the grand scheme of like our ability to win this tournament. That pot doesn't really matter. But the amount of money that's at play, that's worth a lot of money, that pot, you know? You got to think about it that way. Kings, man. Kings. Chat. These are big moments in time, man. The king and the king. Now, against Dimitri, we got a slow play. We just call in the small blind, let him do his thing. Like, king is very, very strong. Against all of these other players, I think we put in a re-raise. And Grash goes for the raise. We make it, you know, just under 200K, I think. No, right at about 200K. Which makes this just under 4x his raise. But then also leaves us room to re-raise and fold if we wanted to. Of course, we don't want to with this hand. Maybe this, actually. I'm just trying to think what I would do with my bluffs, and I think I would make it a little bit more like that. But yeah, it leaves us room where we can do this and fold to an all-in. Now, we're of course not going to. It's the second best hand in No Limit Hold'em, but if we wanted to. So we're telling a consistent story. Hold. Let's go, chat. Come on. Huge pot. We're up to 1.7 million in the $10,300 buy-in. Millions online. Let's go. And Mac Poker dropping the 6-month resub. Thank you very much, Mac. Come on, dude. That's a huge pot. Money Monk raises. All right, I fold. That's big, dude. We needed that. Gonna limp in against Dmitry Urbanovic here with the 9-7 suited. Happy to limp call here as well. This is a very playable hand. Not one where I want to raise folds, but limp call or raise I think is a good play. And we do see a raise up to 105. We'll call, and let's go to a flop. That is beautiful, man. We have a gut shot. We have a flush shot. We have an overcard. We have a board that Dimitri's going to miss a lot when he raises here. You can, of course, still have really strong hands, but you're talking wide ranges. You know, we're blind versus blind in the spot. Easy jam over a c-bet if it comes in. It does. 75K. Now, is there any point to making it like here? No, I don't think so. I think it's just a jam, dude. Good luck, chat. Cross your fingers at home. Big spot coming up. Let's go, man. Let's go. We don't even mind a call, but, I mean, it's nice. It's nice. Almost 1.9 million. You gotta love to see it. And we see basically a min raise from Thanks Bro. I think we get to call with the small suited hand here. If we're deuce, we're offsuit. Of course, we're folding, but suited, I think we're going to flop enough to invest this 36,000 to win 141. And we see a pretty interesting flop. We flop bottom pair with one of the bottom draws. We beat ace highs, but we lose to everything else, right? That said, I think it's worth continuing because this is much better than an ace high in that we have 5 outs to improve to actually quite a strong hand. You know what I mean? With the 2 pair or 3 of a kind. So we call on the flop. Hopefully they shut down on the turn or we hit our 10% to improve. But the turn is a 9 of clubs. Not a very good card for us. A pretty good card for them. If they had a straight draw on the flop, they just made a straight. They could have just hit a junky 9, like an ace 9, just hit a 9 or something. You know, 10-9. Check, check. Now, do we want to bluff our deuce 4 in the end? I don't think so. I think they have a lot of kings that can check the turn on this card. They're going to be a little bit worried given the stack depths. I think we just check. I give up here. I hope that we have the best hand in the end, but it's unlikely, and I think their range is too strong for checking the turn. Don't think they have enough like hands that will fold to a river bet. But we win. So it's good. They shut down on the turn, and we win it with the deuce. Ace-6 of clubs we're going to raise here to 69K. Memes. We call from Brer. King-Jack deuce on the flop. I'm going to bluff. We're not going to win very much when we check, and we hit this board a lot stronger than Breyer does. We'll bet 120 into 180. Do we keep betting on the turn? The queen and the 10 is where it gets interesting because I think Breyer is going to call with any deuce, any jack, any king, any draws that they have, like straight draws or flush draws. Maybe not like 10-9. Oh, no, 10-9 would call too. But we see an ace on the turn, which is pretty interesting. Now I kind of want to pot control. Although, there's so many draws that can be had. I guess I'll check here. Oh, God. Oh, such a bad card, man. It's over, dude. It's over, man. My hand's too good to turn into a bluff. Such a bad card, dude. We're going to fold the queen 4. Oh, my goodness, dude. Ace, king of clubs. We raise. Call a jam, call a jam. Now, what do we do against these 3 bets? If we get a 3 bet here or here or here, do we 4 bet less than all in or do we shove? Very big. They make it almost 4x. It's just a shove. Because we can 4 bet to like 550, but it only leaves us with $1 million behind. It's just not really feasible. So we are all in, chat. This is a huge moment in the biggest online tournament of my life. I have ace king of clubs, man. Is it our time? Is it our moment? Is it our tournament? Or are we duds? Let's find out. We're duds. We're dead in 425th, chat. I mean, it's a lot of money. 10,000 bucks is a lot. But at the same time, I have to be honest. You know, you bust ace king to aces, like, sucks. But it happens to everyone equally. So I can live with that outcome. Like, you hate to see it. It costs us a lot of money there, you know, because our stack's worth like 15,000, 16,000 or something. But I don't know. I just don't have any pain about it. It is what it is. Thank you all so much for watching. Really disappointed I couldn't pull out, you know, a deeper run or something more entertaining for all of you in that $10,000 millions event. I did try my best, obviously, but it didn't go my way. That's just 2 tournaments, right? That's kind of how the game works. Like, if you're going to take some shots at big buy-ins, they're going to adjust your result over the course of like several of the smaller buy-ins, and that's okay. You know, that's what I'm interested in doing in my poker career, is challenging myself against the best, not necessarily like, you know, eking out the best hourly I can at the $22 and the $55 and the 109s. For me, that's not exciting enough, so I enjoy the opportunity of taking a shot and trying my hand against the best out there. So hopefully you enjoy watching that. Thanks so much for checking it out. Drop a subscribe if you're new to the channel, and that's going to be it for me. Till next time, we'll see you later.